What's up, y'all? Welcome back to episode number 2 of Let's Be Real, where we talk about real life issues with real life experiences. I'm Sling.
Don Fields.
Jabari Wells.
Yes, sir. We here, man.
Yeah,
Episode
so let's
2.
go. Episode number 2.
Back at it
baby.
again. So first topic, I mean, it's pretty general one, but I mean, it's something that we all could relate to and that we all, I'm pretty sure, experience or have experienced, and that's racism, man, because it definitely exists. It's something that every black person, I mean, it's not just exclusive to our race. Like there's racism towards other races, but for us, we're black men, so we can identify with it as racism towards black men. But like I can remember a time when we was in Concord prep school, Sling, and I was walking two of my teammates. Yes, sir, man, the trenches. We walking two of my teammates to the bus stop. So they was in high school at the time, but it's like a mile walk. So I just remember it's like 7 a.m. and we at one of the intersections, and like this pickup truck pulls up, and there's a white dude in it. And he was calling us the N-word and all this other stuff. Like it's crazy. Like it's 7 o'clock in the morning. Like I don't even think the sun was barely even up, bro. Like there was nobody else out on that street, and I just never forget like
going to sleep or racing.
Man,
you woke up ready to see some black boys.
That man decided to really drive up and just throw all these racial slurs at us. And I'll never forget, the one part I do remember vividly is the truck driving off and seeing the Confederate flag. And like that Confederate flag, ever since then, it's like even before that, when I see the Confederate flag, like it just more so after that point. Once I see this Confederate flag, and it just like
that's the thing, bro, with that Confederate flag. I'm sorry too, bro. The thing with that, every time I've had like seen an instance with that, it's been racial. Like so when people try to explain to me that it's not a racial flag, it'd be like, yo, every time I see this flag, something racial is either happening, going on, somebody racial is holding it. Like
bro. For those who don't know, Mississippi just the state of Mississippi just passed a law where they took off the Confederate flag out of their state's flag, so they're revamping it. Thank the Lord.
They need I think I see. Wait, you said Mississippi took the Confederate.
The state of Mississippi has their own flag, and they have like a little like part of the Confederate flag.
Okay, yeah.
So they took it off as a whole. They, they revamped it. Legislation passed a law, and they have to have the words "In God We Trust" on the new flag. So making baby steps, I guess. Yeah. What about you, Slink? Have you ever had any form of racism towards you?
Yeah, I had I've been in the country a lot through my college experience, so I had like a couple, but I remember like the one that bothered me the most came from a black coach at one of my schools. When I go to class, especially early in the morning, when I was going to class, I go in a wife beater. When I got to Florida, I was wearing a do-rag. So I wasn't even wearing do-rag yet at Quinnipiac. I was just wife beater, bro, shorts when it was hot. And he told me one day after class, he was like, I don't think you going to class with this on represents us the best. And like my face, bro, is just like what? Like nobody has said anything to me, but you have.
You got a whole
nobody.
salary.
I don't walk past teachers. I don't walk past security. I don't walk past all types of people, bro. Nobody said nothing, but you say something. So then when I get down to Florida, where I would expect that they wouldn't let me wear a wife beater neither, bro, I tried it again just to see. Nobody says anything. Nobody. No coaches. So for me, that just, every time I think about it, it's like, dude, what do you mean represent us? Because first of all, it's clear to see that you don't represent where I come from, and I don't probably represent where you come from most times out of 10. So don't tell me how we represent us. I'm here to represent me and where I come from, my family. I can care less about how I'm representing you, because I'm not going to disrespect you. Like nothing that I'm going to do is going to be disrespectful to you or the team. Yeah. As far as me wearing a wife beater, though, I said,
in that situation when he said us, was it was it supposed to be representing the team or
No,
us as
come on,
both
bro.
you guys being black individuals?
Yeah, when he said us, he wasn't. So his context didn't even mean team. When he said us, he was talking about us as in us being black, man, going to a white populated school. But me being who I am, coming from where I'm coming from, bro, I'm going to wear what I feel comfortable wearing in class.
I feel you on that. Get the same grades, what it matter?
Exactly.
Damn, bro. Like, what? You showing up to class.
I got the A already.
On time, bro. I'm showing up before class start and everything, bro. Chilling.
Like, you showing
and me and all my teachers had great relationships.
All right, what? You say you had a question, Barry? What's the question, man? Hit it.
My question for both of you guys, starting with Don, how has these forms of racism affected you or formed you into the person that you are right now? Like your thought process, how you feel about racism, like how has those experiences between a black individual telling you about yourself, representing the black community, or a white individual calling you the N-word as a slur, how those two instances affected you in your life now?
It's like,
or shape you to who you are right now.
Like at the end of the day, bro, like I know people, everybody got their prejudices and their beliefs. Like when I know one thing, when it comes to like that man calling me the N-word and stuff, it's like, I mean, as long as that man hop out of his car and try to assault me or do nothing to me, then it's like cool. Like I know I'm gonna deal with that however I deal with it. Like I just move on about my day. Like you call me N-word, like you're not finna hurt my feelings, like whatever, cool.
Yeah.
I just feel like when I see that, like I could actually know and see, like I said, when I see the Confederate flag, like that's like a symbol to me that I know what that man or what they might believe in. So it kind of seeing stuff like that and seeing that kind of opened my eyes to how the world really is and the ugliness that actually is in our world. Like there's people out there that really don't like us simply because of our skin color. And like that was a real eye opener for me to actually really experience it. And it really just woke me up to like, yo, like I gotta be more aware of my surroundings and shit, I gotta be more aware of my history to understand like why people before me fought for what they did, because they fought so that I didn't have to experience something like that. And the fact that I even had to go through that just shows like that we need to keep making progress forward.
Facts, though. Yeah. Me, Barry, honestly, like I've always known racism is out there, bro. So I haven't never really. It don't really like you said. I've had it happen to me, and the one instance that stuck out the most was me and the coach. Like I done seen worse. I don't I just it really don't bother me. Like what I said with the situation where I know that when we play explicit music, we don't skip a word. When we know every word, we do not skip a word. So what makes the difference when they play the song and they know every word and the N-word come up? What makes me think that when they alone, they skip over that word? Like I know they don't skip over the word. So that's what that's why that's how I think about it. Like it don't bother me because I know it's gonna happen, but when it comes directly to me or something like as blatant as a George Floyd, Trayvon Martin, stuff like that, that's the stuff that actually bothers me. Like, dang.
Yeah.
But like the simple stuff in my personal experiences, like, I'm not saying that racism don't bother me. I'm saying the personal experience I've had with racism didn't really personally give me a feeling like wow.
Yeah, that's a fact. I feel you. To follow up on both your points, Don, the way that you say that you associate the Confederate flag with that individual, I feel like that directly relates to me and how I think about it. Because if all I've ever known is the Confederate flag to essentially symbolize racism, that's all I associate it with. So if somebody who could rep flag it, essentially, quote unquote, that's what I would automatically think of that person as a bias, as a biased opinion. So I can understand and how that has shaped my way of thinking as an individual. And then with Slink, that coach, like as him being a black individual, that would probably make me feel some type of way for sure. But exactly. I would say that for the N-word, I feel like that's gonna be another podcast that we have. So people stay tuned for that. Because I like how I want to touch on that a lot more, so I'm gonna say we're gonna save that one for another time.
That is
the white people saying the N-word, the black people saying the N-word. I like that, but I would say personally, I don't think I've actually directly, and I probably have, but I never seen physically racism brought upon myself. I probably have, but I've seen a different form of racism. And when we talked about the bullet point of microaggressions, I didn't know what it meant. So I had to go out and Google, look it up, do my research. And I found that it's interactions or behaviors that communicate with some sort of bias towards a person or a specific ethnic group. So a prime example for the audience would be there was a Asian American student who is complimented by a professor for speaking perfect English, and English is his first language. That's a microaggression and basically a transformed way of racism, essentially. And that I have experienced plenty of times. Me being a black individual, I went to a prep school, college preparatory school with a bunch of rich white folks. It's like, oh wow, not only can you play basketball, but I was on the honors roll. Not only can you play football, but I made honor roll. Then I went to a predominantly white school, and then out in Kansas, it was like night and day. Only athletes were the black people. So it's like you play football, but you are pretty smart. So it's like I experienced that over and over and over. I'm not just a dumb jock. Yes, people, I'm highly educated. I work in corporate America. But I want to know, have you guys experienced microaggressions?
Yeah, keep throwing that out there too. He worked in corporate America.
Talk to him, Murray. He said he more than an athlete. He said he more than an athlete right here. Right here.
But nah, Barry,
starting with you, Slink. What?
As far as microaggression, bro, the biggest one that, like, besides that of being black in America and dealing with like those microaggressions, like people locking their car when you walk by, crossing the street when you walk down the street, following you in the store. Like, besides that, bro, because again, it's crazy that I think that was normal. Like, it's really crazy that I think like that. Like, I was expecting all that.
Institutionalized.
You know what I mean? But the one that like I never knew meant like something was, yo, you're mad pretty to be a black girl. Like, I never knew how much damaging that was, bro, until I got older. Like, wow, that's actually pretty disrespectful. Like, you pretty for being black. Like,
yeah, it's like you almost saying like,
that's crazy.
If you wasn't black, you would be pretty, but since you black, you still pretty, but you black.
Yeah.
Like what? Like that don't make sense.
You're not supposed to be pretty. That's what it's saying.
You're not supposed to be pretty, exactly.
Yeah. What about you, Don?
Well, I mean, I could, besides like we did, Slink is talk about like gender microaggressions. Like, I know specifically for me, I think Slink talked about like I had the same exact experience. Like, I remember going into like visiting a friend or something like that, and they had people over or whatever, and it's people I ain't never met. A bunch of white people too, mind you, and I'm the only black dude in the room. Like, that's how it was at Cal Poly. Like, I was always the only black person anywhere I went. So I remember being in that room. I'm the only black person in there, and this girl come up to me, and like, bro, she didn't even ask me what my name was. Like, she said, like, what sport do you play? Like, off rip, like, what sport do you play? And I was like, basketball. She was like, should have told her. I was like, I played basketball. She was like, oh yeah, I figured you played a sport. I was just like, what? Like, what you mean? I can't go to this school because like I'm smart or I good grades in college. I mean, in high school, or like she came out of JUCO, had like a 3.6. Like, come on, son. Like, it was just crazy. It was just crazy.
You should have told them you don't play a sport. You should have said, no, I'm here on academic scholarship.
It was crazy.
I used to do that.
I used to do that. We used to be like, I'm an aerospace engineer. They'd be like, what's your major? I'd be like, aerospace engineering or some crazy jump, bro.
No, I just say communications. They be looking at me like I'm stupid. Like, communications. But you got academic scholarship for communications? Yeah.
Yep.
I did.
They be triple major. Be like disbelief. Like, even bro, even when I used to be like, we used to joke around with white people and be like, yeah, I'm an engineer aerospace, and they'll look at us like, huh? Like I'm not like I couldn't be an aerospace engineer, or I couldn't be whatever major I said. Like it was just crazy, bro. Like, just
I can only imagine, bro. Like, what like goes on in the racist household, like what they teaching their kids to think that when they get older, a black person being a scientist is surprising. Like, oh, like
yeah,
like what are you telling your kids that made them think that black people cannot be scientists?
Because they depicted us.
That's
They
crazy.
depicted us as animals, savages on TV. Like, we go back.
That was
years,
from
bro.
day one.
They ever since we don't been the slaves
Television.
were freed. Ever since the slaves were freed, they've depicted us as less than them, as animals, as savages, and inferior. So it's like, I mean, pretty much, and then like you said, in the households, bro, they just keeping up that whole idea, bro. Like, I don't know if y'all seen that one. It was one post. This white girl on Twitter. She was talking to her mom and dad about racism and like telling them
I seen that.
certain stuff. She was like, "Yeah, you guys can't say that. Like, that's wrong. Like, there's other reasons why these people are in these positions. There's other reasons why they're dealing with some of the things they are today." And it's
so
like,
it's a little girl, right?
Yeah, a white girl. And
see these people.
Do you understand the systematic and historical reason for why they're in that position?
They don't care. All they want to do is be ghetto.
No.
Yes, there's some that don't, and there's good people.
No.
I'm like, yo, that's what we need, bro. Like, white people, like, if you say you want to be an ally, like, you say you don't want racism to exist anymore, like, you gotta stand up for that in those moments where there's no black people around, where it's just you, your family, or your friends, and it's just y'all having general conversation, and you hear a slight, like a microaggression, like something that's unconscious that somebody, it might go over your head. But like, that's why we're here to educate people what these are, so that in the event you hear a microaggression, call that out. Let them know, like, yo, that's wrong. You can't say that. Like,
yeah, definitely is.
Yeah, bro.
I was gonna say, to follow up on both your points, I want to shout out somebody, Luke Cheslow Brown. I had a phone call with him. He was a basketball player that played with me at high school. He played at the Mount where we grew up at. And he had told me, down here he lives in Florida. He says, I have a bunch of white friends, and he's, Luke Cheslow Brown is from outskirts of Newburgh, so he's always been around black people. But he was saying that he has positive racism, like racist friends. And he used to like check them, like, listen, don't be around my other black friends, and then when it's just me who's a white individual and you try to talk down on them or try to be, say some racist slurs about them. And that is one thing that he literally, proudly told me. He's like, listen, you as my black friend, Jabari, are always going to be my friend, and I will always have your back. So I appreciated him for speaking up towards his other white friend when they tried to be, behind closed doors, another white boy to another white boy, trying to say something wrong. So that's one thing I wanted to give a shout out to, because you definitely made a point where it's like that closeted racism that we keep seeing, or those closeted microaggressions that people don't understand. And that's one thing that Slinky brought up, where the white lady walking across the street when they see Slinky 6'8" tail walking down, barreling down on her, and that's the unconscious behavior. That's the unconscious behavior. Yeah, I don't even like Slinky standing next to me. Like, bro, you too tall.
Yeah, bro, like, get away from me.
But it's the unconscious behaviors that get people.
Which is.
And then another thing that I wanted to point out. Is that the gender microaggressions literally all have black sisters. So that one thing is something that really affects me indirectly, because that affects my family, like my two sisters.
Exactly.
So that's something that I need to work on, is to make sure. Exactly. All came from black women. Yeah. So my bad to put you off this one.
Now, I wasn't saying nothing really special. I was just agreeing with you, like, that the black woman one, like, yeah, like, we all come from, like, I wish that I was more educated now. Like, so when I heard that back then, I'd be like, yo, that's, like, what you mean by that? Like, because back then I didn't really understand that. It's like saying, like, she wouldn't really be black for normal, she wouldn't be pretty for a normal black girl, but she's actually all right for this black. Like, she pretty. And that's, like, kind of crazy, bro, for me to hear that. Because if somebody would say something like that to my sister, like, what you mean she all right?
Now I'm like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, you realize what you just said? They probably do. That's the crazy part. They probably do.
No, but you know, I've heard that used in our own like community amongst each other, and I don't think people saying it understood like the deeper meaning behind it, like what you saying. I like to them they giving them a compliment. You get what I'm saying? Like to them it's coming off as a compliment. And it can be received as a compliment, but for somebody that understands what they're being told, that's not no compliment.
Exactly.
It's not even a compliment a little, bro.
It's really not at all.
One of the, as I say, some of the solutions I had, you know, Googled some of the solutions to take care of microaggressions. There was 5 that I found, but the first one that they have on the list is to try to overcome your own biases. So like I said prior, like I see the Confederate flag and I think that's conformed to a certain type of individual white man. I should not try to overcome that bias because they're probably not all like that. You know, probably not, but probably all. They're probably not all like that. So I got to try to overcome my bias.
I'm choosing not to overcome that.
That's
one.
something that you can do, and then.
Like I said, every time I see that flag,
I see that flag,
I
see that flag, I'm on go. Like, all right, I'm ready to know what's going on over here.
Literally. But another thing is to try to put yourself and surround yourself by other ethnic groups. So somebody like Don, who went to a predominantly white school, you could probably resonate or understand, you know, that group of white people at that time more better because you went to school with them for X amount of years. So, you know, putting yourself in your own like putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, other ethnic groups, other types of behavior, things like that, and just understanding and try to overcome your own biases is some solutions to try to combat your own microaggressions towards somebody else. Because I feel like I've done, you know, I've had that coin turn. Yeah.
Nah, great political answer. Like that was great. But how I think that all of this is gonna be solved is when the snake, stop teaching those principles. So how do you get rid of the snake? You cut the head off. So until these people like not wishing death on nobody, I swear to God, like not wishing death, but until these people die off, bro, like it's gonna be the same principles being taught down the line until somebody break them. Like their principle is being racist, but our principle is poverty. Like we come from generational poverty. Like, and one of us gotta break the chain. You get what I'm saying? So we go out and get knowledgeable of this information on how to do that. That's why I stopped giving them the excuse of maybe they don't understand. Bro, they understand completely. They just don't want to listen. So for us to say, oh, what's the solution? No, we know the exact solution. The solution is for them to stop being that way. So how are they going to stop being that way? Yeah. They ain't having no change of heart, so we seeing that.
That's a fact.
We the only ones that have to be understanding.
That's something. Yeah, that circles back to the whole racism point too, and that's something that I thoroughly believe in. Is that you saying how do we stop it? And that's what I was trying to explain to somebody. Like you gotta understand, like the baby boomers are essentially they're on the decline. They're dying off. Period. Right? Point blank. But the people that were racist as baby boomers, they raised people that are now becoming racist that are in my generation. So it's like as they're dying off, they're passing down the racism. And that's what people got to understand. Not just white, but all people, like they're passing that down, I thoroughly believe. And it's not going to stop until that stops getting passed down.
Exactly, you're not born racist like that. You're taught to be racist.
Exactly.
You're taught that. It might not be directly, but just how
it's a mentality, bro.
Yeah, just how it like if you're a baby and you're around your parents, like everything your parents do, say around you, like you're gonna like absorb it some type of way. So if your parents are all spewing these racial slurs and talking about different groups of people like in these hateful ways, like that kid is gonna take that on, bro. Like it's going, it's not just going, like it's not like words just going out and like it's just not going, like it's being absorbed by a bunch of different things, bro. And if you got a kid, like your kid is absorbing all of that.
Everything like a sponge.
Yeah, bro. It's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, kids.
I went from racism to microaggression to the granddaddy of them all, black on black crime. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Which is a microaggression.
That is
low key. It is low key. Bro. You could high key. You could see it as that. in my opinion, bro.
It is.
Yeah. Who wants to start this one off? Because this is a granddaddy.
Don can lead this one. I'm gonna jump in behind him. No homo balls.
All right. All right, bro. Can we do?
Edit that out.
Yeah, I got that. But all right. So let's go black on black crime. On the surface level, obviously it exists. I mean, when you think of black on black crime, like in a general sense, like you just think of a black person committing a crime against another black person, whether it be murder, robbery, assault, any one of those things, any type of violent crime. But like I just don't like that term when people try to use it to deflect other issues that are going on, like other injustices that are happening to us. Like when we talk about police brutality and you got a white person or you got somebody else, it might even be a person of color that might tell you like, oh, before we worry about police brutality, like we gotta handle black on black crime, where it's like, yo, those are two separate issues. Like you could handle police brutality before we handle black on black crime. It don't mean that we have to handle this one first before we can deal with this one. But another thing like on about black on black crime, like I was reading this article on Cleveland.com and I seen a quote and dude, he was basically talking about like how he was basically saying like trying to debunk the whole stigma of black on black crime. He was making some good points, but one thing that he said was like when an opponent of Black Lives Matter talks about blacks killing blacks, it's almost always to deflect attention away from police brutality as if one issue makes the other one more acceptable. And it's like when I think of that, when I hear that, I'm like, yo, that's pretty much true because like I just said, when you hear black on black crime or when you hear somebody talk about it, it's almost always in defense to the fact that police brutality could exist because we have black on black crime. And it's like, yo, that's both of them aren't right. Like we can agree that both of them aren't right, but just because we have black violence in where we're from, which we all know, we all agree on that, we have it here in Newburgh. But just because we might have these instances doesn't mean that we still can't solve the problem or the issue of police brutality.
Yeah, so with that black on black, like you said, I do agree with you that the media does overuse that to take away from things that we should be talking about. But being from where we come from, like outside of like before George Floyd and all that, I've always said like, yo, like it's crazy that people don't understand that we would get so much more done if we were together. Like us out here killing each other, because it is a thing, but statistically, for those who don't know, white on white crime is higher than black on black crime. We just don't see it in the news that often. But like I was saying, with black on black crime, bro, it is a thing. Like it definitely is a thing, and it definitely is a big issue in inner cities like black communities. Like that is one of the main reasons of death in black communities. Like it is a thing. Like that's my focus. I don't like when we talk about it, I don't care on the national level and all that. I'll be talking about for the inner cities that be experiencing where we come from experience. Like it is a problem. Like there definitely is a problem. But why is it a problem? Because our city is populated with what? Well, the city of Newburgh. Now, I'm not saying the town of Newburgh, but the city of Newburgh. So who you think would be getting hurt is if it's all black people, of course the crimes are going to be committed on black people by black people.
Yeah, exactly.
But when you have these other areas, this crime is being committed all amongst all different races. Yes, they are committed black on black, but like I said, numbers show that white on white happens more frequently than black on black does.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was just said the research that I had did from it, was I had read a 2015 article from the Harvard News Journal, and it said that the term black on black violence, while statistically correct, is simplistically an emotional charged definition of urban violence that can be problematic when used by political commentators, politicians, and police executives. And I feel like I believe that. I believe that the term itself, you can create a statistic out of how many cars is going to be here that's going to be white. How many it can be a statistic, yes, which it is. But at the same time, I feel like it's only coined. That phrase is only coined to only shadow or bring a shadow of just nothing but bad. And
yeah, because nothing comes with
it
it.
carries that weight to it. Exactly. Nothing good comes out of it. And I feel like they're pinning it down to only show that when it's a necessity for them. So when it's like, oh, police brutality, but many of them kill themselves, you know? And I feel like that should never be the plight, ever. It's the white man's doing bad by killing them, but they also kill themselves. No. If it's a statistic, use the statistic for whatever you want to use it for. But don't try to put it as a plight for or justification of what the other person is doing.
And that's where I don't agree with it nationally, because that's what the media do. They use it, like they take it and they try to say, well, why should we care anyway when they're already there killing each other? Like, that's the part that I disagree with, because if you go inside of a white community, I'm pretty sure you will find other whites killing whites. Like, I'm pretty sure. But again, bro, like I said, for some reason, black crime sells. Like, I don't know why, bro, that people always want to see the downfall of somebody black. Like, I really can't understand that, but that's what sells, bro.
Yeah. And it's like you just said, Slink, like if you went into another area, like a predominantly white area, like any crime in that area is gonna be white on white, regardless.
Exactly.
When it comes to crime, it doesn't necessarily strictly tie to race. It really doesn't at all. It really has to do with proximity, opportunity, and whether or not the poverty threshold in that general area. So like we see it in Newburgh because of many other reasons, not just because it's just black people living amongst black people and committing crimes.
But again, that's why I said I don't agree with it nationally, because they don't understand what actually goes on where we come from. Like they get to spin the narrative on what it is.
And that's like that's the one thing that I do not like. Is like Jabari said, they only use it when they feel it's necessary. And it's like people will say, yo, they're killing each other. Like, for example, like they'll probably say like, oh, they're killing each other in Newburgh. Like, before they can even talk about police brutality, they need to do something about that. When it's like, yo, like, there's plenty of stop the violence or stop the guns, put down the guns movements that have gone on in Newburgh following some type of violence or killing. So it's like, yo, like there are people that actually put the effort in to combat black on black violence. There's actually people that are doing stuff to help stop it. You just don't see it. Is that they don't talk about that. The media doesn't cover that because they don't care. They, like you said, black violence sells. That's what they want to see. That's exactly.
Again, bro, in history, to like piggyback off that point, every time that I've seen in history that somebody black of power that can organize or keep people together, they've been destroyed. They've been cast down. They've been belittled. Somehow, Martin Luther King was on the FBI most wanted list, which is like that type of stuff, bro. Like you dealing with not just people in your neighborhood, but you dealing with the top of the top people, bro. And I think that's what keeps people from like saying like, I already gotta survive. Like we already gotta wake up and try to get the next dollar, get the next meal. Why would I need to go lead somebody when I'm taking care of my own family? And they don't understand that that's the responsibility most people have, like growing up in inner cities. They can't make time to go do other things because most times black men in the inner city are the man of their house. There's no father. There's only a single mother most of these times, bro. So for you to say like black on black crime, but you're not understanding his responsibilities. Like this man is taking care of a whole lot. He has a whole lot to lose. He has a whole lot on the line. And that's the part you're not understanding. When we get stopped by cops, we don't have no relationship with them. So you shouldn't treat me like cause I'm black. You get what I'm saying? I have well, not me, but these people have relationships with each other when these crimes are being committed, usually. You don't know me, bro. Like, so that always was my point. Like, y'all so quick to understand the cop situation, but you're not quick to understand why there is black on black crime. Like, you don't understand that.
Yeah, bro. It's crazy, bro.
I try to get an outside point of view on black on black crime, so I asked my girlfriend, and she has said that she doesn't believe that there's such a thing called black on black crime because, in her words, quotation, it's a statistic that white people made to pin on black people against black people. We don't hear about white on white or other ethnic groups as frequently, if at all, killing each other. Crime does not come with a race. And I feel like that last sentence, crime doesn't come with a race, that made me think a lot. That is actually true. Like, I'm not going to walk up on you. I'm not going to do that. If I'm robbing you because I need dollars, the first person I see, give me the give me the loot. So that crime doesn't come with a race.
Repeat that. Yeah, repeat that last part.
Yeah, repeat that last part.
I was saying that crime doesn't come with a race, and if I'm not going to walk up on you and rob you because you're black, if I need money, I'm going to get it by any means necessary. But give me the loot, whoever you are. Next person I see out the door is get me. So that crime doesn't come with a race. Force me to think differently, literally. So I don't know, man. It's just crazy. I can see both sides of it for sure.
Yeah, we gonna need to get some feedback from the.
I'm saying though, but if crime don't come with race, then what do you call racist committing crimes on like black people? You get what I'm saying? If crime don't come with race,
but that's the only time you see it though, because white people have a history of violence towards black people. Bro.
But that's how our like I seen this, bro. Laws don't change a man's heart; they just change his habits, right? So these laws was literally put in so-called to protect us, like to change the way of life, right? But like again, this man's mindset is not like he don't care. Like he not hearing that no, y'all are not equal. No, no, y'all not. We is not the same. Like I said, his mindset is already made up, bro.
Yeah. Man. Black on black crime. That's a big issue right there, man. Yeah. That's a very broad topic.
I will say that it's weird. It's weird because growing up in a low-poverty neighborhood, only seeing my black peers, beef and combat and kill and, rob other black males, I can definitely see the other side. I definitely want that to stop, but it's at the same time, at the day-to-day level, that's what I see. But on the national scale, I see it only pinned as a plight but they kill themselves. And that's what I can't agree on. So,
That's exactly what I agree with. It do need to stop, but nationally, that's not what the nation's problem is.
Yeah. Got bigger fish to fry.
Well, y'all, that's episode 2, man. We got to wrap up pretty soon.
Can't go yet. You got to tell me your saying.
Yeah, you said you was going to have a saying this.
You said episode 1, you going to have
one. I got you. Hey, man. This ain't my quote, but it's something. It's something that I believe firmly in, especially from Brother Malcolm. Okay. It's right around your wall. A man who stands for nothing will fall for anything, man. Come on.
Hey. Talk about it. Go ahead, Slink.
Yeah, I got a new one. If you ain't do it yesterday, make sure you do it today.
All right. That's a good one.
All right. Mine is still the same. Learning is a change in behavior. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all.
Thanks y'all for tuning in.
Leave some feedback.
Please.
Let's talk. Let's have a conversation.
Yes,
right here. Talk to y'all. We want to talk.
Look. But again, thank y'all for tuning in. See y'all next week.
Yeah.